Hello and welcome to another episode of Her Helping Habit on Air. We are a Canadian fertility agency specializing in known egg donation, embryo donation, and surrogacy, helping intended parents, surrogates, and donors navigate their journeys through education, support, and advocacy. Through open conversations and shared experiences, we aim to empower everyone involved in the family building process. Her Helping Habit on Air does not provide medical advice. These are simply lived experiences shared to help make the often uncharted world of infertility feel a little less scary. My name is Jess, and today I'm joined by Dr. Eugenia from Fertilidad Integral. She's another of the specialists that you will meet as a donor or intended parent along the way as you're going through your fertility journey. After specializing in gynecology and obstetrics with a subspecialty in reproductive biology, Dr. Eugenia has found her passion in medicine lays in accompanying women throughout the different stages of their lives and helping guide them down the path that will lead them towards fulfilling their goals of parenthood. Thanks so much, Dr. Eugenia, for coming to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
So, just to jump on into things, I am so excited to chat with you about Fertilidad and everything that makes it a go-to clinic. So, just to start off with, what makes Fertilidad Integral different from other fertility clinics in Mexico?
So what I think truly makes Fertilidad Integral different is our personalized approach. We know every patient is different. They all have a different story, family goal, and they all have different history of previous fertility journeys. So we don't believe that there's like a treatment that is one size fits all. So what I think and what we try to do is to combine advanced reproductive technology with highly individualized care. We try to ensure patients feeling supported throughout every step of the way. We try also to have expertise in international patients and LGBTQ plus family building, we do a lot of treatments with egg donation, and we give a lot of support to patients that come from other countries. So we do a lot of video consultations, and we try to make them have an easy journey here in Mexico.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely makes it as accessible as possible.
Exactly. Yes.
Cool. And how does Fertilidad support patients beyond their medical treatment when they're going through the fertility journey?
So in Fertilidad Integral, we understand that fertility treatment, it's much more than just medication. Try to give more support throughout holistic treatments like wellness support, throughout nutrition consultations, psychology therapy, acupuncture, and also massage therapy. So patients throughout the fertility journey can be emotionally and physically supported. And our goal is to take care of the whole person, not only the reproductive health. So we try to take care of all patients from an integral standpoint.
That's amazing. I really am fascinated by, your wellness services and how they kind of play a part within the fertility journey. So I think that's a really cool part about Fertilidad that is especially intriguing from my Canadian perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so in part one of our collaboration with Fertilidad, we talked about the embryoscope and how 2 of the 4 of them in Mexico are with Fertilidad. Can you tell us a bit more about how it works and why it's such an important part of the IVF process?
Yeah, definitely. So the embryoscope is an advanced incubator, so it uses the time-lapse imaging system that continuously monitors embryos throughout its development without disturbing their environment. So instead of removing embryos from the incubator for daily observation, we just observe them throughout all their development while they remain in this stable environment. And this will allow us to evaluate important developmental milestones, like identifying embryos that are going in a good moment of their development, and if they're going slower, so we can then identify embryos with the highest implantation potential. And obviously, we are trying to minimize the environmental stress.
With the embryo development, how is that an advancement from where we were at before the embryoscope? You mentioned that this is the first time that we're able to view the embryo without removing them.
Yes, exactly. Because when we don't have an embryoscope, or clinics that do not have an embryoscope, they usually take out the embryos every day from the incubator so they can check them. In Fertilidad, when we didn't have the embryoscope, we just took them out on day 1 and day 5 so we can evaluate their development and try not to interfere that much. But with embryoscope, we don't need to take them out. We just see these time-lapse images, and we can see a video that's done from the images, and we can see its development.
That's incredible. I love, all of the emerging science that we've got, and that's definitely one of the coolest ones right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And what other advanced technologies does Fertilidad Integral use to improve the IVF success rates?
Okay, so we have the highest technology here in Fertilidad. For example, we include PGTA testing for the embryos, where we can find out if the embryos have altered chromosomes, and we can discard the altered embryos, so we can go only for the euploid embryos, which are the ones that have more probability of implantation. We also recommend doing ICSI whenever it's needed, and that's when we find that there's alteration in male factors. Also, we have another, additional to embryoscope, we also use ALive, which is an artificial intelligence platform that analyzes the embryos, and then it can help us identify the most appropriate embryo to implant, because then through this AI technology, we may know which embryo has more chances of implantation.
That is so fascinating. And especially with, AI advancements in fertility nowadays, it feels like there are, new ways to look at embryos all the time. What treatment options are available for international patients that are thinking about traveling to Mexico for their fertility treatment?
One of the most common treatments that we do in international patients is egg freezing, because we know that egg freezing treatments in other countries might be difficult to get or might be more expensive. So most of our cases are due to fertility journeys of egg freezing. We also do IVF for patients that would like to preserve embryos for the future and also analyze them through PGTA. We also sometimes receive embryos that were created somewhere else in any other country, so we can then do the embryo transfer here in Mexico, or we can continue the fertility treatment here. We receive sperm or eggs from other clinics from all around the world, so we can also continue treatments here. So we basically do all the treatments available.
That's awesome. And kind of brings me into my next question as well, which is, what options are available for intended parents after the egg retrieval?
Patients have several options depending on their goals. If they just want to preserve fertility because they don't have a plan, we just freeze the eggs or embryos, and we just save them for whenever they want to use them. That's one option. Another option is to create embryos. So we fertilize the eggs, we create embryos, we do PGTA, and then they can decide when they want to use them, if they want to use them or not. Some embryos can also be transported somewhere else. There's patients that create their embryos here in Mexico in Fertilidad, and then they're going to transfer their embryos to their country so they can continue their journey over there. And we are very flexible with whatever treatment they would like to do, and we also help them analyze which would be the best pathway.
That is so cool. I think that is really comforting for, prospective intended parents that are looking into Fertilidad as well, to know that, they don't need to know everything right now, but they have some flexibility still for the future, and that you guys are there to help them figure out how that'll work best for their family and their path forward.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And, going back a little bit, you mentioned ICSI and, different ways that sperm can be used. So what kind of different treatments or techniques are available for sperm during a treatment cycle?
ICSI, for example, is the intracytoplasmatic sperm injection. So what we do is we take one egg and we take one sperm that is carefully injected directly into a mature egg with a highly sophisticated micromanipulator. So we recommend doing ICSI when we have male infertility, we have a low sperm count or automotility in sperm. When we are also thinking of doing PGTA, we recommend doing ICSI, or when there's history of previous IVF treatments with no success, because we know ICSI can give us a higher fertilization rate. Now, another thing that we can use is the microfluid sperm selection technology. And this is where we can isolate the healthiest sperm from the sample. So then we use the best sperm from the sample, particularly ones that have altered fragmentation, DNA fragmentation, and it can help also have higher fertilization rate.
That's so cool. Oh, I think that was all of our prepared questions. Are there any other topics that you wanted to talk about, Dr. Hayanya?
I always try to recommend our patients, especially international patients, to be patient throughout the process, because first of all, you come from very far away and we have sometimes time difference, and you go back home, and then we need to discuss treatment options, and we need to look at logistics of when we will do the treatment, when we'll be having embryos, what will be the next steps. And that's why I always recommend being patient throughout the process, because creating embryos might seem very easy or might seem very fast, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes patients that will need more than one round to get healthy embryos. So they need to come to Mexico more than once. And every time we do a treatment, they also need to stay here for maybe 2 weeks or sometimes a little bit more. So that's why I always recommend trying to be the most patient possible. I know it's hard, but it's something that can give us better results, because then patients won't be that stressed, and that also helps the prognosis.
Absolutely. I think that's really valuable advice. Definitely, the more patient you are, the lower the cortisol levels, just the smoother everything feels overall.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Things that can help get a better results when we do an IVF are trying to sleep well, try to eat organic or very healthy, try not to be stressed. So I recommend personally, whenever you're going to do IVF or do egg freezing, give it real time, focus on it, because your energy should be positive throughout all this treatment. If you have a lot of stress from your work, from family, from other stuff, you probably won't have the best results. And, it's sometimes difficult to be without stress, but trying to be on our best will give us the best chances.
Yeah, definitely. And while we're on that topic, is there anything that you recommend that women avoid during an IVF cycle to help improve those success rates?
Well, as I was telling you, those things might look silly, but are really helpful, like trying to be without stress, sleep well, at least 7 to 8 hours per day, and trying to eat organic, trying to do exercise, be healthy. An anti-inflammatory diet will be helpful without dairy, try to cut out gluten. That will be very helpful. Avoid all the toxics. That will be also helpful.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Dr. Eugenia, and telling us all about all of the science and, benefits of Fertilidad. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll be glad to see you in person and help you with your fertility decisions in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much again, Dr. Eugenia. It was great meeting you.
You're welcome. It's been nice talking to you, and thank you for the chat today.
If you'd like to connect with us or have questions about known egg donation, embryo donation, surrogacy, becoming a parent, or exploring whether becoming a surrogate or donor is right for you, you can find us online at Her Helping Habit or email us at info@herhelpinghabit.com. We're passionate about educating and supporting all parties throughout the journey, and you can also book a free consultation with one of our coordinators directly through our website. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon on the next episode of Her Helping Habit on Air. Thank you.